the leader of the NDP or myself previously, when we have raised those issues, Mr. Speaker, you know what the consequences were? I was refused visa to travel to India. And this is how the government of India intimidates people, intimidates our parliament, let alone the public. We all got to come together, whether it's conservatives, liberals, bloc, NDP or Green or independent, to come together to condemn this so-called democracy and stand for the rights of Canadians.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Parliamentary Secretary if he's been witness to a lot of debates here on foreign interference. All members of this House, all parties in this House have condemned any form of foreign interference, particularly when we had the debates on China's foreign interference into Canada. I find it very surprising that of every other party has spoken in condemning foreign interference by India, but one party is definitely silent in here. Does it mean that only foreign interference would affect your votes as a Conservative? Are you to stand up for them? Or does it mean you stand up for any foreign interference when lives are at stake? And in this case, a person lost his life, and I don't see that other side speaking. I want to know if it only matters when Conservative votes get lost and a member from Steveston loses an election, and only then does it matter. Can the member from Windsor to come speak?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
I want to thank my honourable colleague for his excellent question and also for his incredible work, for being the voice of communities across immigrant communities, new Canadian communities from across the country, coast to coast. You know, solidarity means that an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us as Canadians. And it is up to all of us in this House to stand together and to stand firm against this type of assault. This is an attack on the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's an attack on who we are as Canadians. And my honourable colleague is absolutely right. The silence from the opposition members is absolutely deafening.
Just one party.
And it is absolutely one party, I would say. There's one party, and that's the Conservative Party. And their silence is absolutely deafening, and it is absolutely telling. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For many Canadians, including those from the Sikh community, yesterday confirmed what they already knew and felt. Many deep-seated fears were realized. In the Sikh community, you grew up learning and hearing about the Indian state and how they have treated Sikhs, how the Indian state keeps an eye on Sikhs in Canada. To hear that there is a potential link between the murder of a Sikh living in Canada and the Indian state strikes at the very heart of the security that a lot of Sikhs came to Canada to find. Madam Speaker, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. Now we will test the veracity of those words. A Canadian was killed on Canadian soil. In seeking justice, we must heal the divisions of the past and not create further divisions. As Canadians, we are one people with a common future. For the strength of our democracy and the harmony of our people, we must come together and close rank. We must stand united against foreign powers that seek to undermine our fundamental freedoms. It's true in Canada that we have diverging views. This is not a sign of weakness. The strength of democracy is in fact shown most in how openly we can air those diverging views. I call on all Canadians to unite. While there will be time to debate our differences, now is the time to find common ground. Despite the pain, we must be patient. We must trust our institutions to do the important work of carrying out justice, and we will wait and we will demand for justice. Thank you.
The potential involvement of the Indian government in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil is a grave violation of our sovereignty and goes against the principles that we hold so dear. And the perpetrators of the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar need to be brought to justice. And my message to Canadians originally who were born in India or their families who originally came from there, Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists, Christians, and more. Those who seek to undermine Canada's sovereignty will do and say things to delegitimize and undermine your existence as a Canadian. To that I say, whatever your faith, you are a Canadian. Whatever the color of your skin, you are a Canadian. You are a Canadian, and Canada is a free and strong democracy.
ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਦੀ ਹਕੂਮਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਖਤਰਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਮੇਰਾ ਤਾਕਤ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਹਟੂੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਜਸਟਿਸ ਤੇ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ ਇਸ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਹਟਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਲਿੰਕ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਪੂਰੀ ਖੋਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਨਿਆਂ ਆ ਜੋ ਜਸਟਿਸ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ I want you to know you can trust that New Democrats and everyone in this House will fight with everything we have to ensure that this serious, reprehensible matter is treated with the utmost seriousness and focus and that we bring justice. Thank you.
We've been clear we will not tolerate any form of foreign interference. Since this was brought to our attention, we've been guided by 3 principles. The first one, we will seek the truth. The second one, we will protect Canadians at all times. And thirdly, we will protect Canada's sovereignty. I've conveyed these principles to my Indian counterpart, and I've also told him that we expect India's full collaboration to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. And as of today, and as a consequence, we've expelled a top Indian diplomat from Canada. So let me just say that in French, just quelques instants.